Welcome to the BumbleKast. I'm your host, Ian Flynn, the Bumble King, and joining me as always is my Bumble co-host, Kyle, JCRB Krause.
Hi, what's up? How you guys doing? I'm here. It's Monday. Or it's Friday. No, it's Monday. Sorry. It's Monday.
Don't take this from me, Kyle. This is the beginning of the week, please.
It's Monday. Yes. We are not recording at the last minute, thankfully.
No,
for a Friday episode. No, we are
recording. Never happened.
No, of course not. We've never done that. Nope. Never ever.
In fact, we have done a lot of work behind the scenes, and we have a full week of BumbleKast goodness coming to you this week. We have our regularly scheduled priority Q&A episodes today and Wednesday, the regularly scheduled standard Q&A episode Friday. We have a special guest episode on Tuesday, and then a special new feature, the BumbleKast Mini, sponsored by one of our patrons, coming this Thursday. And then it's the end of the month live Q&A session on Saturday, which will be rebroadcast next Monday, followed up by yet another special guest, this one being Dr. Starline. That's right, he's back. Followed up by yet another patron-sponsored BumbleKast Mini. So buckle up. August is going out in style.
Oh, it's gonna be fun. But we do have questions to get to. So
yes,
let's get to those.
Let's do it.
Starting off with one from Alphamon Oryukin. How exactly is Megaman's name supposed to be pronounced? Is it Mega Man with the G's exaggerated? Is the M silent and it's just Ega Man?
I don't 100% know myself. I was forcing the joke and allowing it to be a silent medium to let me get away with it.
Mega Man.
Yeah, if you want to go Mega Man or just Mega Man or Mega Man, however you want to pronounce it, that's perfectly fine by me.
Mega Man. Here's a question from Andrew D. Angel Island has fallen to the surface of the ocean multiple times and has remained intact. Why then was it so dangerous for the island to once again fall when Neo Metal Sonic stole the Master Emerald in the comics? Speaking of which, any idea on why it floats into space after Knuckles retrieves the Master Emerald at the end of Sonic 3 and Knuckles?
Let me put it to you like this. You have this antique vase, and you drop it, and for whatever reason, the gods smile upon you, and it bounces instead of shatters. Do you want to really roll the dice on that again? Sure, Angel Island has remained intact the last few times, but last time it fell, it was barely off the coast of Mystic Ruins. What if it smashes into somewhere else? Or in Neo Metal's case, what if it just didn't float this time? You know? Every time you drop an entire freaking continent full of cute little critters and priceless relics and possibly indigenous plant life, you don't want to do that in general. That's a bad thing. As for why it just kept going up and up and up in the classic games, it was a neat visual at the time.
Probably, yeah. It was just getting dark. That's all it was.
It's been a long day.
Yeah. It was just finally getting dark. Yeah, we'll go with that. Arcfighter has a question. Well, now that Eggman has walked all over Dr. Stairline, we're down a whole non-Eggman villain. I know Surgeon Kit did just get added, and you probably can't give us a direct answer, but any hints as to what new villains IDW might have in store for us?
I don't think we have anything new, but we've established a lot at this point. You know, Mimic is at large, Clutch wants to do something, Rough and Tumble are out and about. We have a lot of villainous characters doing. And, you know, we haven't seen Eggman pull anything big in a bit. Well, aside from the Imperial City, but yeah, we just barely started that. So we've got no lack of villainous antagonism to go around.
Alrighty, here's one from Baccanon. Hey, a first time question here. I've always had a soft spot for Sonic Battle on GBA. If that story were to take place in the IDW books, glossing over plot holes like Gemerald, and assuming you could incorporate IDW elements and characters into that story, how would it play out?
To me, Battle is already part of the past. It's happened in the modern timeline, which is the comics timeline, really, when you get down to it. So Gemerald exists because Emerald's tragic story already played out.
And we got a question from Batman69 LOL. Sonic and Tails find a tabletop RPG called Badniks and Bounce Pads, just laying in the sand at the beach. They try to invite their friends to play, but their messages are intercepted by Surge, Kit, Dr. Starline, and Dr. Eggman. They decide to join the party and try to ruin the game. After a very awkward greeting, they decide to let them play. At first, things go smoothly as they could possibly go, but after making their characters, they get sucked into the game world as their characters. What kinds of characters would each of them make to try to ruin the game, and how screwed are they stuck as those characters? Can they tolerate each other long enough to escape the game world?
Oh, see, Eggman is going to already have a perfectly maxed out stat sheet. Like, he's already gamed the system. He is, what is the D&D term? Like, is the Joker rogue or the Paladin Batman, or,
He's already min-maxed his everything.
Yeah. Whereas Starline has a competently built character, but he's more about trying to game the system. He's the, rules referee.
He's a rules lawyer, yeah.
The rules lawyer, thank you. I knew I had that wrong.
He's also an evil bard. Anyway.
So he's just trying to, he doesn't accept the fact that they're in the game world and his perils come towards us. No, that shouldn't work like that. Tails has likewise done a appreciable job building up his character sheet. It's just he hasn't gone to min-max. He's gone for fun.
Yeah.
So he's competent. He's the one pulling his weight in the party, but he's not broken. Whereas Eggman is kind of just surfing along on his stats with eyes on taking over the game world, because of course he is. Surge is declaring herself chaotic neutral just for the ability to get on everybody's case. If it happens to suit her to push you off a cliff or to join the kobolds in their attack or whatever, she doesn't care. She doesn't care what class she is. She just throws stats randomly, and what is her definition? She doesn't know. She doesn't care. This is a game for nerds. She just wants to beat stuff up. Kit, meanwhile, has learned the game inside and out, and he has built himself specifically to be a support unit to Surge. That's kind of hard to do since she doesn't have an actual class or anything, so he's kind of scrambling, but he's still viable. And Sonic was just being fun. He decided to go straight bard.
Oh, Sonic is the bard, huh? Okay.
Yeah, he's just super laid back. He's all 100% charisma and music, zero actual physical stats in this game world.
Well, I mean, bards have decent physical stats, but I mean, they're mostly magical.
I just see him just they're up against impossible odds, and he breaks out the guitar and starts strumming along going, "We're invisible, you can't see us, we're gonna stroll by, and you won't even know, you can't even hear the song because I'm that good of a bard," and it works. And Starline is just apoplectic. That shouldn't work, it's not logical at all. Of course they can hear you, because that's how the song is affecting them. And he's just kvetching the entire way until they're free.
That's good. I like it. Yeah. Surge is just chaotic in general. Just chaos embodied. Verbal components must be heard. That's true. Otherwise, they don't count. They don't work. So, Starline's breaking his own rules. Buttered Noodles is here with a question. What if scenario? All of the mainline Sonic cast lose their abilities / powers. Sonic loses speed, Tails loses fight, Shadow loses most any forms of chaos control. How would the cast handle losing their abilities? Who would best cope with the change? We've seen Sonic lose his speed multiple times, and he's usually not happy about it.
No, but that's also an older interpretation of Sonic.
Yeah.
I think he would be kind of nonplussed, but I don't think he would lose it like he had in the past. And he would still perform as best he could despite those lack of abilities.
Right.
I think Tails would be one of the worst hit because he'd be hit with this existential crisis where, for the longest time, all he wanted was to be normal. And then he embraced his differences and that he, was special and unique. And now he's not. He's just a fox now. I'm imagining that losing the powers is he lost that whole tail. It just, poof, it's gone. So what is he now? And just, he's gotten everything he wanted, but he doesn't want that anymore. And Shadow. I think Shadow would just kind of run into traffic to prove that he's still the ultimate life form. Beep beep, thud, didn't hurt. You're bleeding, didn't hurt. I'm the ultimate life form. Your leg is in the wrong direction. It's fine. It's meant to be that way. Ultimate life form.
What an
Big
idiot.
doesn't care. Like Big, it takes him a little longer to reel in one of the bigger catches. He literally does not realize he lost his super strength.
Oh, just doesn't care. This is another Boom episode, by the way.
It wasn't until Shadow got hit by a car.
Well, I mean, there were never any cars in Sonic Boom, were there? They never went to a big city.
Well, yeah, there was. The boys went on a road trip.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Okay. Their car was the only one, though.
Meanwhile, Vector's really puzzled because why can't Charmy fly? You got wings. It's not a superpower. It's part of your anatomy.
No, it's just not working. What would Vector lose?
The fire breath, I guess.
I guess
his incredible strength.
Yeah,
he's just a big dude now. But that seems more like tools in his case. It's not his defining feature.
Yeah. SBO can no longer go invisible.
Of course I can. I'm invisible right now. We're staring right at you. No, I'm invisible. No, I'm invisible. No, I'm invisible. No, I'm invisible. No, I'm invisible.
Oh, no.
Vector, quickly. Isn't it Jitsu a superpower? I think it's a physical discipline. I'm fine. I'm safe. I'm good. It's fine.
SBO turns into Drax. Oh, no. Tangle loses her stretchy tail. It's just a regular tail.
Yeah.
God, she would hate that.
She's out there in traffic with Shadow. I can still dodge cars. Watch. Beep, beep.
I mean, yeah. They'll finally let the Babylon rogues get off the boards because the boards will stop working.
It confounds Vector even more. It's not a superpower. It's a machine. It's a function of its design. This doesn't make any sense.
Vector is just lost. Would Omega lose any powers, or since he's a robot, it doesn't matter?
Depends. If the Extreme Gear loses power, I guess he'd lose his arsenal somehow.
Oh,
it wouldn't stop him, though. I mean,
no.
He'd be pulling them apart bit by bit, even if he doesn't have his full robotic strength.
It's true.
He's just sitting there knocking a couple of motobugs together, hoping they crack.
Poor Mighty has no super strength anymore.
He's still got bothering a little bit, but he'd be zen about it.
He's still got the shell though, so I think that might be okay. That would be weird.
That shell blocks giant spikes and firepower.
It'd be weird if it just went away.
It might just be like normal tensile strength of a shell.
Oh, okay. All right. God, he would look so weird without the shell. I don't know. I what else do we got? Anything else? Blaze and Silver? Yeah.
Everybody's very expectantly looking at Amy and waiting to see if she uses the hammer or not.
Oh, yeah. No longer materializes? Oh, no.
Or does it? It's mechanical, isn't mystical? And the entire story just like skirts around the entire thing.
Uh-huh. Yeah, pretty much. And our last question before we take a break is from Cosmic Cooking Hunter 77. What if Eggman found all the bases Starline took over, but instead of destroying them, he took all of Starline's ideas and used them, plus made them better, plus in his image as a big one-up to the now toasted platypus?
That is a fan plot, and I can't use that now. Please do not send these fan ideas in to me. I cannot utilize them.
Alrighty. Well, I guess we'll take a break and consider fan ideas. No, we will not consider fan ideas. I mean, I might. You can't stop me. And we'll be back with more BumbleKast. We're back with a question from Chaos Sonic 1. Who would be the Digimon partners of the Sonic cast?
I never watched Digimon, played Digimon, consumed Digimon. I know virtually nothing about it.
Yep. That's pretty much the case for me, too.
Sorry.
Who would be the Digimon partners of the Sonic cast? I don't know. Leave it down in the comments below if you have any ideas. Here's a question from Dove. Sly Cooper Sonic crossover. Would you be interested in such an impossible pairing? And if so, how do you think it might go? If that falls too deep into fan creation, then I turn the question over to Kyle.
No, it's a broad enough concept of here's two franchises, they meet. What do?
Yeah.
That's vague. That's open-ended. That's fine. I'm not really experienced with Sly Cooper either, but from my understanding, it's a fairly down-to-earth Anthro series.
Yeah, I'd say that. I know a little bit about it. I've only dabbled in a little bit of the game for a little bit. I need to go back to it. But
styles aside, I think technologically they're no more advanced than what you'd find in a fantasy version of the real world. Like,
right.
They have cars and running water and reasonable clothing. So in that regard, I don't think it'd be that hard to cross over.
I'm being told that there's an immortal giant owl as a major bad guy and time travel machines. There's apparently it's a little gadget advanced.
All right. Well,
there's a little
time stones and
yeah.
Tim Curry was a giant mystical owl at one point in SAT-AM, so it tracks. It fits.
Yeah, I think it would be fine.
It might be fun for maybe Sly and Rouge are competitive thieves.
Yeah.
Up against the same prize, and that leads to some larger global conspiracy that the Chaotix have to investigate, and there's some end of the world thing so that Sonic and additional Sly Cooper characters could take part in. I don't know. I think research would need to be done to be sure, but I don't think it'd be that hard necessarily to mash them together.
Nah. Any of these early 2000s furry mascot platformers, 3D platformers, you can combine them with Sonic. I don't think it'd be a problem. Ratchet and Clank, Sly Cooper, Blinks, yeah, they all go together. They'd all work. Jack and Daxter, yeah, Jack and Daxter would work too. Here's a question from Endbend. Team up time. Big, Blaze, and Honey are all trapped into one of Eggman's catastrophic schemes. Assuming this is their first time meeting, how well would they work as a team to escape? Would they get along or get caught up in a cat fight?
Yeah.
Boo!
I think there might be a little bit of cattiness between Honey and Blaze, just because Honey is, at least in my interpretation, very much in your face. She's very loud. She's very prominent. She's vivacious. She's gonna get in there and mix it up. She's always about big ideas and big execution, and Blaze is much more reserved.
They're both hot-headed, but in different ways.
Yeah, like Blaze can bring the fight, but she's not gonna be the one to initiate necessarily. She would prefer to think and ruminate first on her own over there. Whereas Honey would be going, what do we do? What do we do? How's an idea? Here's another idea. Do you have any ideas? Oh, what about this idea? They'd get along eventually, because once Blaze stepped up to take command of the situation, like, okay, this is what we need to do. Yes, that's a good idea. Let's see it through. Honey would be all about it. Like, yeah, let's go get him. And Big is just agreeable. He'd go along with it.
Big is just a nice, friendly dude who would be really just in there would do what he's told and punch things into the stratosphere as they deserve. Yes, I like it. I think it would work out eventually. It would take a little while, but Here's one from Exadel. Given his reaction to Eggman's acts against Dr. Light, how do you think Dr. Wily would react to knowing his counterpart, Mr. Wily, in the Battle Network timeline, is essentially a terrorist who tries to nuke the world?
He'd hate it. The world is where he keeps all his stuff. Do you know how many robots could be destroyed in a nuclear strike? It's unconscionable.
Mr. Wily. No wonder he doesn't think things through. He doesn't even have a doctorate. Wow. Here's a question from Hero of Light 13. With the classic era now having a solid timeline, at least covering the 4 major entries, and the specific placement of other classics seemingly off limits to talk about right now, is there still room for Sonic 4 to exist within the same timeline along with Mania? Or does the timeline split cause it to exist within an alternate timeline such as Modern's past? Or can it coexist in both classic and Modern's timelines? It has to happen after S3 and K, but before Adventure either way. So I feel like it's flexible. I think we talked about this pretty recently.
Yeah, and I still can't get into it. Just, it's being considered by top professionals.
We have our best people on the case. Meanwhile, it's the Chaotix. We'll unravel this timeline. We'll figure it out. Or it's rough and tumble. Yeah. And we got a question from Jolene B. Given the naughty rights issues of Sonic the Comic, and indeed old Archie stuff, would you be reluctant to reread them for the same reason that you avoid reading fan fiction? Or does being officially licensed make it a different situation?
That is a fair point. I think it's different. Number one, yes, it is licensed material, so it should be in the clear, but it's also more proliferated. There are large numbers of folks who read that material. They would know where that content came from. Fan ideas are more individual. They are not necessarily going to be as well known or understood by the greater community, and therefore it makes it easier to get lost in the shuffle or be conflated with something else, or if I open myself up to the allegations for someone to say, oh yeah, he totally took my idea and my proof is my own personal testimony. If it's something that's from the already published comics, everybody knows where those ideas came from and are able to come together and look at it and discuss whether or not, this idea is similar or if, yeah, it totally is a redo or whatever.
Alrighty. And we got one last question for today, coming to us courtesy of King Toasty. It's the ultimate scheme off. Snively, Dr. Finitivus, and Dr. Starline's attempts to work together has finally fallen through, and their inevitable betrayal of one another is at hand. Who among the three comes out on top? How do they do it? And why is it somehow Eggman?
Well, who do you think put the three of them at odds?
He just wanted to watch them all burn each other.
Starline, I think Snively is far more capable than you are. Snively, I think that Starline guy's gunning for your position. Dr. Finitivus, I don't like these guys. Kill them.
Yeah, pretty much.
Finitivus doesn't really have a horse in this race. He wants everybody dead, but
I mean, why not? Kill them all. Murder. Finitivus can have a little murder as a treat.
I mean, I imagine Starline and Snively, and it kind of depends on which era Snively we're talking about.
Yeah.
But I feel like we've kind of covered this before, but the two of them kind of trying to play the good boy just to get the other one in trouble, while ultimately also trying to seize control for themselves. And I mean, I guess to a degree it depends on what era Starline as well. Like if we're talking early Starline, just the very idea of turning against Eggman, scandal. If we're talking like Imposter Syndrome era, it's still a degree of wanting to preserve him. So I guess there is that nuance there. Snively wants Eggman dead. He won't care.
Yeah. The irony is that if Snively did kill Eggman, Snively would be a paltry replacement. It would not be
and then absolutely targeted by Starline, because how dare you remove such a genius from the world?
Oh, yeah. It's true. It's true.
The odd one out here really is Finitivus, because he doesn't care about any of them. Eggman would have to do something in particular to bait him into getting into the middle of the Starline Snively fight for it to work, really.
Yeah. Well, he'll figure something out, you know. He's Eggman. It's what he does. He is the best. All right, that's all the questions we got for today. Come back on Wednesday where we will finish off the priority questions for this week and then have some standard action on Friday.
In addition to the guest episode on Tuesday and the BumbleKast mini on Thursday. But before we go, we need to give a big thank you to all the patrons over at patreon.com/BumbleKast, Ko-fi.com/BumbleKast, and our YouTube members. Big thank you to Daniel H., Alex P., James K., John B., Jennifer R., Robotnik Holmes, Samuel P., Sam Cybercat, Torchbound, Mike B., Dave M., Coupling Crew 128, Duiz Disden, Jay Frost, Luchacat, Andrew D., Hero of Light 13, Scruffy Matt, Ryan D., Chris A., Sony, John M., Noni, Jib, Don B., Yami M., Lee H.K., Lisa M., Fiona M., Chevelle, Invade Turbo Tunis, Ben W., Blue Title Gamer, Keeper of Monsters, Tick Tick, Axis, Xanderoni the Painter, Finally, Neil Scurvy, Pirate Honk, Jonathan Inkpants is missing his actual pants. The name is X. Justin S. Solaris Stain, Nimric, Godzilla, Dadler the Dalek, Chaos Universe, Sonic Legacy, Daniel B., Ava Arctic, Pedanti Cat, Dove, Red the Super Namek, Arcfighter, Quaggle Gaggle, Chad, Nondle, Professor Rye, Jack the Animator, Cameron H., Les, Jennifer H., Sapphire Scarletta, Alphamon or Yukin, Joshua S., Omega Watt, Preston M., Sonic 84, Noah S., Finest Cacophony, Alex G.S., Kojiro Highwind, Supersonic Fan, Awesome Cakester, Radry, Jolene B., Chase L., Dapper Shinks, Just a Mountain Soul, Callum Q., Red Wolf, Ty H., Starsec, and Tails, Maddie H., KJB, John the Real Waluigi, Derusiful, In Zephyr, Cosmic Cooking Hunter 77, Mox the Marble Gardener, Owen BD, Lemur Chicken, Wild 48, T Ranger, Twillard, King Toasty, Miles the Prower, Navari, Exadel, Agent Kaz, Force Sonic Fan, Lewis J, Michael P, Rhythm Raccoon, Fenris Asger, Pap, Delta God 77, Miggy Sawdust, Pig Dan 20, Ty Cyan, Jamal S, Curly Quills, Ozjam, Shimmy M, Josiah H, Angela V, Lacey M, Unlikely Veronica, Caleb, Phi, Nova Poly Duo, Timon B, Thievius, Smiley 21, The Flower Garden, Sammy S, A Seer Warns of a Deadly Fate, Bowser Studio, Tetsunai, Fang the Werehog, Crowbo, Sonic Mania 2099, Thigolf, Shumps, Hadronus, Nils, Chaos Sonic 1, Sky the Desu, Supernova, Indabend, The Disgaean, Superior Pizza, Charlie B, Chaos Shadow, Sonic Padge, Speedweed, Butter Noodles, Frost the White Line, Danny the Light, Ryoko Shin, Phelps G, Metamode, and Wheels 282 Hedgehog. That's it. Thank you, everyone, once again for supporting the show. We will see you tomorrow and the day after that and the day after that and the day after that for more BumbleKast. Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. And we'll see you then.
See you tomorrow. We got a packed week, so don't miss it. No,
maybe everybody's just trying to get away from work, so it's all the weekdays. All right.
Yeah. That's when people go outside. What? You go outside, Noni? I'm sorry to hear that.
You've been listening to the BumbleKast, a co-production of Bumble King Comics and the KNGI Network. Original theme music composed by Ken Coda Snyder. Remixed intro by T-Lopes. Find out more information, along with podcast feeder links, MP3 downloads, and more at bumbleking.com and kngi.org.
That's part of the reason why we split things up.
And it's less for us to do all in one go.
Yeah.
And by we, I mean Kyle.
Well, yeah, the algorithm is a fickle mistress. I'm fine. I feel all right. It gives me something to do when I need it.
Oh, well.
Let's see. I need something to do. Otherwise, I'll just sit here and contemplate existential dread forever, and that's not good. That's not good for me. That's not healthy.